Good morning, teacher. Today I am going to talk only about the book of Frankenstein. This intense novel takes place when Captain Robert Walton, in one of his free moments in St. Petersburg, Russia, and at the end of the XXVAA century, he is waiting for someone to give him the ticket to the port of Archangel, where he wants to hear some Russians to sail to the North Pole. But unfortunately, the ship in which they are transferring get stuck in ice, s- staying hundreds of miles away from the mainland. It was there that Walton began to write letters to his sister in England, as he was eagerly looking for a company to be with him, even though he was surrounded by the entire crew of the ship. Some time passes and despair began to invade Walton, but suddenly he saw in the distance a man approaching the scene, wheeling pulled by dogs and a sled. The man climbed aboard the ship, and it was that Walton realized that his wish to have a friend on board had been fulfilled. This mysterious man was named Victor. What Walton didn't know was that his man was a little crazy. This is his story as told to Walton. Victor Begin is a young boy living in Ginebra. Later, his parents would adopt a young girl so that when she grew up, she would marry Victor. Something very common at that time. Once he sets foot in the university, he chooses a career that has a lot to do with philosophy of nature and chemistry. Apart from alchemy, very common in the career of chemistry, in just a couple of years, he managed to discover how to give life to a body that has been made from piles of corpses. But later he will regret it, and at the same time he will be horrified to be what himself has created. So subsequently, he gets sick for months with his friend. Henry Clerval goes to help him until he recovers. Once they returns from Ginevra, it is learned that Victor's younger brother, named Williams, is murdered. One of the servants of the Frankenstein family, named Justin, was accused of this murder, so he is excused Victor into it as if by magic, that it was his own creation that killed him, but believed that no one believed that Victor is afraid to subject the theory even after poor Justin is excused. Victor, under enormous stress, heads for the Swiss Alps to clear his mind a little. By pure chance, he meets the monster who confess to being the perpetrator of the crime and tells Victor the following. When Frankenstein ran away, he will tell he was very ugly. Everyone ran away as soon as they saw him, except an old blind man. He was under the concept that his blind man's family of readers might accept him, but like the other people, they threw him out of the place. When he come across William, he he killed the boy out of revenge. Basically, what they believed was he was created only to be always alone and constantly rejected. So he asked Victor to create him a friend who will be with him. Victor had no choice but to give into Victor's request. He leaves Henry in Scotland and subsequently goes to work on one of Orkane's island, but moments before he finished the destroy of the other monsters, for he fears that between the two of them they will destroy it humanly instead of loving each other without harm. The first monster see this and Sweater's revenge on Henry. It is same at the time when Victor arrives on a shore among the Iris. He's accused of having killed Henry, who is found in the end he's not acquitted of criminal responsibility, but enters again into a monthly state of stress. Victor then returns to Ginevra and makes preparations to marry Elizabeth. Um, Although he is very worried about the monster, as he will be winning him on their wedding night. For Victor, this was a kind of threat from the monster, but on the but on the night, he and Elizabeth marry the monster, murders the bridge. Faced with this fact, Victor's father goes into a serious depression until he finally dies. So the monster managed to kill two people with a single act. Once he's left alone and thirsty for revenge, Victor class the monster through every imaginable terrain until the moment of his deed arrives. But that isn't where it all ends. Since Walton discovers the monster crying over Victor's body, this is a rated curious fact. Since the real reasons why the monster is crying is unknown. Peepers and because he was the only reason we ask he's alive. Finally, in this last chapter, we can appreciate the reading of Robert Walton Diary, who appears as the indirect narrator of the work, who describes how the pursuit of the monster will make Victor move to the North Pole, where they will finally be separated by again cha- chunk of ice. At the moment, he was able to find Walton on his his boat, when he will try to come by so that they could pierce the monster. Everything went in this way until one day, with his health already quite deteriorated, Victor dies. In the best part is when just that night a terrible storm began to fall, which made Victor was really scared, causing Elizabeth also became nervous to see him that way. Victor noticing all these all this tell Elizabeth to go her room and sleep a moment. A little later, he would hear a scream from the room, and upon entering, he would realize that Elizabeth would be strangled, and did. Seeing the window, he would not notice the appearance of the silhouette, which was the monster. With total annoyance, he tries to change it, but doesn't succeed. At that very moment, he decides to go for a look for his father and brother, since they were the only members of the family he had left. Once his father heard what had happened, he was shocked, which made his health go from bad to worse and caused his death a couple of days later. Later is Victor arms. Faced with these situations, Victor swore that he will dedicate his life to find and eliminate this monster he had created. In my opinion, I like this novel, and I can be say that it was taking a relations to vampire movies and Ultra Tombs, among others. In a certain way, Frankenstein can be seen as an allegory of the perceptions that the specific development can bring, which has been conceived and written during the early stage of the industrial evolutions. Begins it this a time of dramatic change. Begin the experience for experiments of Victor Frankenstein is taking into account to search for a divine power. In such a case, it is expressed that what create what creator power that the act of creations of light itself. Thus, Frankenstein's great disregard for nature can be considered as a symbol of two imperious forces that are unleashed by the Russian capitalism, which doesn't respect the basic um, dignity of the human being. Um, Undoubtedly, the creation revelation against Victor is a clear message of the punishment that is a consequence of the irresponsibility, use of technology, and evil being simple a direct sequence of the resource. I would have went in to have a happy ending, that Frankenstein could revive Elizabeth, and he would no longer be feared by anyone and would be free of guilt. Thank you.